Hi, Ansab. Good afternoon.
Hello, hello, how are you today?
I'm doing great, thanks. How are you?
I am very well, thank you.
Awesome. Well, my name is Anna Taylor. I'm an account executive supporting our employer and consultant partners in the West Coast. I know when you had your initial call with Talkspace, you were meeting with Patrick. He did a great job of getting me up to speed on really what you all were looking for out of a resource like Talkspace. So I really want to just kind of hand it over to you. From my understanding, there was this would be a little bit of a temperature check to see if y'all wanted to do a full-on demo and see Talkspace in action.
Yes, and from the last meeting, I had some questions as well. I had a discussion with with my CEO
Okay.
and the board of directors, and they threw some questions at me, and I did not had some solid data to back up my answers. So I thought that it would be a good idea to discuss those as well alongside with the demo.
Absolutely. So what kinds of questions did they have?
So to initiate with the first question that came up, obviously, I don't know if you're aware of my background. So I represent this company as a chief wellness officer.
Mhm.
So I'm looking at their wellness program. I've been associated with the company for a year. I've run different, um, wellness programs here, and I've taken some initiatives. Although now we were planning to expand it. So the first question that came in their mind was, how was that cost effective for them? In my discussion, I brought up that it will have a significant impact on the health insurance that you're providing their employees. Uh,
Mhm.
it, you know, Although I did not had any solid data to back it up, if they're investing, let's say, 40,000 per annum, so what they're getting, how is that cost effective for them? Obviously, they don't want to just throw in all the money there. So yeah,
Yeah,
they would just wanted some data for that to back up. And I think apart from that, that was their major concern.
sure.
And this, apart from that, the idea, it, it sounded good to them so far.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's a great question. It's kind of challenging to your point with something like a mental well-being program. How do you bring on the business case for that?
Yeah.
Right? It's not really, it's a little bit more of a soft cost. So what I can do, and I can send this to you directly, but we have a great resource called Making the Business Case for a Mental Health Benefit. And it's not
Hmm.
necessarily specific to Talkspace, but it kind of
Hmm.
talks through the business case for bringing on mental well-being support. It
Hmm.
is really geared for a CFO or someone on that executive level who's trying to understand the numbers and what this investment is going to mean for them. So I can send that to you because that's got
Please.
a great resource with tons of different information.
So just to be clear, as far as Talkspace is concerned, you don't have any specific statistics to quote, but you will be referring to me a website that might have the information that I require, but it's not specifically associated to Talkspace.
Correct. So it's one of our different resources that we share all of the time. But when I say it's not branded to Talkspace, I more mean that it's not through the lens of a Talkspace biased resource, right? We're not, everything that we are quoting, every resource is a third party peer reviewed journal. So it's a lot of really good practical information, but it's not just specifically on Talkspace. We launched out bigger and broader because we want to give you unbiased resources. Of course, if I tell you what the good business case is for bringing on something like Talkspace, there's a little level there. So we have this, I'm trying to get it open right now for you so I can kind of
Yeah. So you mentioned journals. So are you referring to these are like some sort of scientific papers?
yes, it kind of summarizes and quotes different scientific papers. I'm getting this opened right now. And I can go ahead and share my screen. There we go. Okay.
All
So when
right.
you're looking at a mental well-being resource, we're looking at a number of different things when it comes to ROI and making the business case, right? Because we all know that anecdotally, when you take care of yourself, you put the oxygen mask on yourself first, you're able to show up to work more productive, more present. And that's going to really translate to dollars. But it's kind of hard to demonstrate that, right? With hard data. So we've got a bunch of different areas that kind of go through what the benefits of investing in a mental well-being
Mm-hmm.
benefit would look like.
All right.
Is this kind
Uh,
of what we're looking for?
I believe this will give me at least some data.
Okay.
Uh, and I'll really appreciate if you can share this with me.
Yeah, of course. I will absolutely send that to you.
Thank you. Okay, so this was just give me a minute. I'm just gonna go back on my notes and see if there was any other question before we proceed with the demo itself. So how long have you been working with Talkspace?
Sure. So I've been with Talkspace just over a year, but my
Okay.
background is also in consulting. So I came from employer consulting. My specialty was mental well-being. So really focused
Oh,
on mental well-being
interesting.
benefits and employer strategy there. Yeah. So still really new to Talkspace, but I live and breathe mental well-being. That's my passion.
Right.
And my passion is really helping organizations build that and bring it on and
Perfect.
create cultures of strong mental well-being.
So do you have a degree in psychology as well?
My degree is in public health, actually.
All
Yeah,
right. That's really
yeah.
interesting.
Mental health was just something that, as my career progressed, it was a specialty that I loved and felt so passionate about. And honestly, me coming to Talkspace was a matter of I used the services. So
Mm,
when I was at my previous employer, I got myself in a
right.
position where I needed a therapist. I needed a therapist
Yeah.
quick. I live in a really remote area. My town has
Oh.
1,500 people. So
Oh, that's it.
yeah, it's really small.
Wow.
Getting a therapist was nearly impossible. And this was
But I
somebody
bet
who worked.
it's peaceful as well if it's just 1,500 people.
It is very useful. I won't lie about that, but healthcare coverage can be really tough. So
Yeah.
I downloaded Talkspace as an individual and got connected with a therapist who changed my life. And I was like, I have
Mm.
got to go work there now because it was just such a life-changing experience.
So from your experience, have you tried the text therapy or text counseling or coaching through
Yes.
texting?
Yep.
So was that effective for you?
That's really what drew me into Talkspace was the component of messaging. With my lifestyle, I'm a millennial. Like I live on my phone. I text. I don't like phone calls as much. I like to text. I met my husband today on a dating app back in the day. So,
Wow.
we met each other when we were texting. So applying it to therapy, it's been amazing. If I'm in a situation where I'm stressed, let's say I'm in between meetings or whatever,
Yeah.
well, I don't want to bring my work stress to my family or to my friends or to my coworkers, right? I don't
Of
want to create
course.
a toxic environment. So I've got somebody that I can text real quick, vent, get words off of my mind. And then what's really nice about the texting with the live session component is when you go in for your live session and your therapist asks you, how have you been? I don't know about you, but I don't even know what I had for lunch yesterday, let alone
Yeah.
what happened the last couple of weeks. So our conversations will instead start with, hey, on Tuesday, we were chatting about X, Y, and Z. How you doing? That kind of thing. So it's a really great touch point for you to reach out and get
Yeah.
support whenever life happens.
Yeah, that's wonderful, wonderful to hear, and reassuring as well. That because I believe I had a conversation with, I was having a conversation with a professional, I don't know who it was, and we were debating on the effectiveness of this texting
Mm.
therapy or slash counseling. So the studies, me being a psychologist, the studies do suggest that there is a positive relation and positive impact. So yeah, I was just asking you experience. Maybe it's more like a journal and a research paper kind of thing, and maybe people might have different reviews in journal. So yeah, I was just making sure.
Yeah. Hey, and given your background and, being not only a professional in the space, but in the education portion of the space, I'm sure research is something that you live and breathe by. I can send
Absolutely.
you, I've got some really cool research that we've done. When we came to market in 2012, we brought this idea of asynchronous messaging therapy. We were really the first ones to come up with it because our founders saw a need for folks to get in touch with their therapist in between those live appointments. And anyway, so when we came to market, we wanted to ensure that our product was going to demonstrate the same outcomes as traditional therapy. So we partnered with
Yeah.
Duke, Yale, a bunch of leading research institutions to publish over 20 different peer-reviewed studies. So I can send you that. It's super
Please, that
interesting. Yeah, absolutely.
that
But
would be a wonderful resource.
of course, but most importantly, what we've seen is the outcomes of the texting therapy are the
Yeah,
same as traditional in-person therapy.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can absolutely send you that deep dive. I find it really, really interesting.
Perfect, perfect. So you want to go ahead with the demo now?
Sure. So when I connected with Patrick, he shared that, today we would just be kind of touching base to see if you wanted to take those next steps for a demo. A formal demo takes about an hour because it's
Oh,
pretty extensive. So is that
okay.
something that you're interested in scheduling?
Absolutely. I believe that we can have a look at it probably next week sometime.
Sure.
I'll
Like,
get back to you with the time. I'm not sure. I have to check my calendar and check my meetings, and I can get back to you with that.
okay.
And another thing, I don't know. I've just made few folders. I have a folder for Talkspace as well, and I believe that I requested Patrick to just share some slides that he went over in the initial meeting. So
Let me
would
double check
you
with that. Hmm.
yeah, it will be really great if you could send me, just like basic slides or uh, if you have a tailor-made plan. I don't know how you guys go about it, but there are some companies they do give you like a tailor-made sort of presentation and then they email it to you. So you know what we are interested in looking. They give you some stats. So I'm in touch. I'm being very open about it as well with Patrick as well. Obviously, we're looking at different partners and we're trying to evaluate. At the end of the day, it will not be my decision to make, but I'm
Sure.
the one providing all the information and doing my evaluation and providing it to the decision makers, and they'll be the one making the decision. So I've been in touch with different organizations who provide similar services. And yeah, they've given me some resources and they've shared some statistics as well. So one of the companies they shared that they have few IT companies on board, and 47% suffer from burnout, and you know, 36% of them choose to go into one-to-one session therapy, just small statistics like these.
Yeah.
So I believe that that would be really helpful if you have access to those statistics and data.
Yep, I've got some industry specific stuff. So, quick question for this particular client. Are you able to share the name of the client at this point or
I'm in touch with actually quite a few. The one that I just shared an example of is Modern Health.
okay. But Modern Health is the organization that was sharing the data. This is not your client, correct?
Yes, yes, absolutely. They were sharing data about their, uh, they were sharing their own data basically.
Okay. Cool. I guess my question is, so you're the client that you're representing, that would bring on either a Talkspace or a Modern Health or something like that.
Yeah,
Are you
correct.
able to share the name of that company or the industry that they're in?
Yes, yes, of course. I've mentioned it previously as well. So the company that I represent is Allied Consultants, and they are IT company, and they are basically consultants. And they have their employees in Pakistan as well as in US. So basically, it's more like an outsourcing company, but their clients are based in US, and then their workforce is based in Pakistan and other countries as well. So the employees, there's a diversity in the employees as well in terms of the ethnic backgrounds and the languages that they speak. So we have people speaking English, and we have people speaking Urdu and Punjabi and Spanish. So we have, a diverse ethnic background. And one of the things that Modern Health did mention that they have the flexibility of languages that they're providing. So yeah, if there's some anything like that,
Yeah.
that you have, and if you could share it like in a presentation, that will, really help me evaluate the and put the pieces all together.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, very cool. That's great to know. We also have a very diverse group. So currently across our network, we have 33 languages
Right.
for our providers. So our providers, while you need to have a working understanding of English kind of to navigate the app, if you do,
Okay.
English isn't your first language, you can connect with a provider who likely speaks that first language. So,
Yeah,
um,
true.
but I can get those numbers to you, no problem.
Perfect. Perfect. So I believe so. What the way to move forward with that is that I believe you'll be sending me some data and some research papers and everything that we've discussed so far, and I will do some homework on it. I will go through them, and if I have any questions that I will share them with you. And after that, I will actually ask if I would ask my if the board if any person from the board of directors, if they're interested to attend the meeting, I will highly encourage them. And I believe after that we can definitely schedule a meeting where you could just walk us through the demo.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. So how about this? I will get to you probably by the end of the day tomorrow, if that's okay. All of the
Perfect.
follow-ups, and then what I'll do, most of them are in like PDFs and flyers, but I've got them
Perfect.
also in presentations, so I can put together a quick little presentation so you can grab and pick slides as you put
Perfect.
your presentation together. I know when I was in consulting, it used to drive me crazy when I would have to take a PDF and put it into PowerPoint, yeah, all that fun stuff. So I'll help you out with that.
Sure.
And
Thank you.
then we'll also get some time scheduled for next week. I would love for someone from the board to join and really get to see Talkspace in action.
Perfect. This sounds great. Is there anything that you would like to ask about the company? Because you might, uh, you didn't know the name, so you might not know much about the organization that I represent, because that might help you put the presentation together. All
Yeah,
right.
absolutely. And I apologize. I got a little confused. I saw it was Allied Consultants, but I thought that was your organization and you were the consultant representing another organization. So I apologize. I got a little scrambled
No,
there.
no, no. So the organization that I represent is Allied Consultants. That's not
Mhm,
my organization. So I represent Allied Consultants, and their headquarters are based in US, and then their employees they have an office here in Pakistan as well. Overall, they have around 200 employees,
mhm,
and the industry, as I mentioned earlier, they are IT consultants, and they provide range of IT services from app development to website development to God knows what. I'm not an IT expert, but they provide a lot of IT services,
mhm.
game development as well. So yeah, they provide a lot of IT services. So yeah, is there anything specific you would like to ask?
Yeah, so kind of thinking about the demographic, I would imagine a number of different engineers, folks that really are
Yes,
highly educated.
yes,
One thing to kind of note about Talkspace on our platform is all of our providers are going to be a minimum of a master's level licensed therapist. And I
yeah,
like to put that out because we work with another number of organizations that have highly developed, highly educated um, workforces. And typically, we see with that demographic, they want to speak with somebody that has the same level of expertise in their field. So, for example, if we're looking at like a health system, a doctor is going to want to typically speak with somebody who might have a PhD, somebody who really has an education level. So that was kind of just one thing I wanted to throw out there is all of our providers are a minimum of a master's level clinician. And for that purpose, we do not have coaches on our platform. Coaching, I'm not sure your level of familiar. Are you pretty familiar with coaching versus therapy?
yes,
Okay. Okay, cool. So it's just how our model works. It's really designed that way intentionally because coaches will typically, what we see is, if you present a coach with symptoms of stress, they're going to focus on that stress and helping the individual get to the next level. But what a therapist is going to do when you present to them with symptoms of stress is they're going to start pulling back the layers of the onion to get to the source of the stress.
of
And that's
course.
how they do their work, right? You're very familiar with that. So
I
because
I I actually I have a degree in clinical psychology and my doctorate is in organizational psychology. So I've been a therapist. I worked in hospitals. I worked in organizations. So yeah, I'm pretty familiar with the therapy process.
yeah, so you get it and you understand. I'm sure you can understand why that is our model.
Yeah,
It's so hard to get in touch with a therapist, to get an appointment with a therapist, and we
yeah,
just don't want to gatekeep people from getting in touch with a therapist and diverting them to a coach. So just one of the biggest differentiators and thinking about that clientele and the demographic, I thought that might be important to note. I guess one last question for you would be what sparked them wanting to enhance their mental health benefits?
that's a excellent question. So what I've done since they've hired me, I've been involved in different projects at Allied, and I've actually, as I mentioned earlier, I've initiated different projects at Allied related to mental well-being.
Hmm.
And the very first initial research that I conducted at Allied was a qualitative research where I figured out the the elements and the factors that lead to low productivity of the employees, and that has a direct relation with the revenue generation of the company. So
Absolutely.
I did that qualitative analysis and I did a qualitative research and I presented it to the team and I told them that the specific problems that IT engineers face. So majority, the most prevalent problems that they face is low self-esteem. And the biggest issue that IT engineers face is communication issues because they spend almost 8 hours, 9 hours a day in front of their computers coding, not interacting with humans. And over time, they develop an issue of actually communicating and expressing
Wow.
their emotions.
Wow.
So I told them the what the problems are and how they're related to the revenue of the company. And then we started out with different programs of overcoming these issues. Now, the problem with that is we don't have uh, a really massive team here, right? So I started with the group sessions,
Sure.
and with group sessions, I could only engage around 20, 25 employees,
Yeah.
and I had some other team members as well. Again, they did the same thing. They were engaging around 20 employees, and it was more of a we call it longitudinal sort of training that we did training for almost 3 months, and we showed them we show them the pre and the post analysis. So
Wow.
we showed them, okay, so this particular person, the productivity was 40%, and after our training, the productivity is 60%. So within three
Wow.
months, the productivity has improved around 20%. So we have done all of that. Now, the issue that they're facing, they obviously they see the relevance of it, they see the significance of it, although um, we have an issue of upscaling this idea. And
Sure.
and the best approach with that be to go with one-to-one approach. Now, it will be a really bad idea to hire around 60 psychologists in your company. That will be such a bad idea.
That'd be
So
expensive.
I obviously in terms of the business, it will just crush them down. So the best strategy that we came up with was to hire a company to outsource this you know the mental health solutions and to outsource it, and we believe that it will be cost effective as compared to if they hire their own team
Sure.
and with this much employees. And I believe obviously over the year, if they jump to around 600 to 700 employees, then it will be a really good idea to develop their own department of mental well-being, and have their own full-time psychologists who are developing content and everything. But at this level, I believe with 200 employees, it might not be the right step for them.
Sure. And that's where someone like Talkspace can really come into play, right?
Yeah,
Because 80 in-house psychologists would be really expensive. And
of
this is
course.
definitely a more affordable way. Um, okay. Just kind of like while you were talking, one thing that I thought was really interesting, you mentioned emotions and creating relationships and maybe
Yeah,
communication relationships
yeah,
as a challenge.
yeah,
I have you for just a couple minutes, but we'll go through this more in depth during the demo.
sure.
But can you see my screen here?
I can, yes.
So what I'm showing you here is the back end portal for your HR partners with Talkspace self-guided, which is typically something that we see a lot of people purchase in addition to Talkspace therapy, but
Mm,
it's really our way of helping to create a strong culture of mental well-being within the organization.
mm-hmm,
So basically, the way it works, and again, this is just a skinny down version. We'll jump into this in much more depth, but every month we have a different engagement plan. What we were
mm,
seeing, kind of like you were saying, is you can bring in a resource like Talkspace and have these great psychologists ready to go. But how do you really engage the culture? How do you change the organizational view? So we realized we've got an incredible network of licensed therapists and the best in class communicators and marketers. Why don't we put together a mental health engagement plan? And so that's what we do every month. And June, our theme, every month has a different theme, but June was relationships. So this is why I kind of started thinking about this group. But we will have managerial tips, quick one pagers, maybe a therapy workshop, a therapy worksheet. Then we always have an on-demand class, so one that's recorded, you can watch whenever, and a scheduled live class, all coming up to the different theme. So we've got, making the art of one-on-ones, making sense of your relationships, lots of great stuff there. But then
So
what?
I have a question on this.
Mhm.
So how did you come up with these topics, and how did you find out these are the most relevant to the employees, and employees are most interested in these specific topics and not others?
A lot of listening. So our development team, they worked with a number of select clients to kind of gauge some feedback. We also worked with our account management team to identify what are the most brought up challenges. And then also as we're ongoing with this with all of our clients, we make it very easy to give this feedback. So substance use was the direct cause of an employer telling us that they were struggling with substance use around their
Yeah.
organization. So we're always taking into account feedback from our employer partners, but really this is our therapist team as well as our marketing team. They're doing a ton of listening. Not only what are their patients and members saying, but what is important to the market. We're paying attention to the market. Is
Yeah,
it a time when people are unsure about job security? Is that something
yeah,
that we talk about?
yeah.
Uh, but it's really diverse and it can be hard to choose one topic, but we want to make sure that it's something for everybody. So this month we have
And yeah,
years.
so just to add, just to make an addition into this, so would it be possible that before these sessions, we actually, people like me, or person like me, actually get to chat with the therapist when it comes to the on-demand classes? The reason why I'm suggesting that is because one issue that I'm already seeing is the culture disconnectivity.
Mhm.
Because as you suggested, let's talk about job security itself or relationship. Now the dimension of relationship changes from Western cultures to Eastern culture. It's
Sure.
totally different. So I believe it will be really useful if you have somebody on board like somebody like us and
Mhm.
who can actually make sure that the lessons and the on-demand lessons and all the content is actually aligned with the culture it's going to be presented in. Obviously,
Sure.
when it's presented to our US employees, it's no issues. But when it's presented to our employees here in Pakistan, I can see there will be a disconnectivity of the issue.
Yeah, no, and that's a really great point because culture is so different, right? And we want our
Yeah,
message to be respectful and inclusive of everyone's culture and also meet them where they are. I will
yeah,
say for all of these workshops, they are available for our entire book of business. So something like this class, exploring your relationship with alcohol, it wouldn't be a class that's just for your employees or your clients' employees. It would be available to anyone with Talkspace self-guided.
yeah.
Said,
So
cameras are off, it's completely anonymous, but you can
yeah,
interact with us during the class. So
perfect.
you can ask questions.
So
You
yeah. So yeah, this could be like a very great example of what I just said. So exploring your relationship with alcohol. So majority people, specifically in the country that I live in, and where our employees are based, alcohol is not one of the common issues, and the reason being is the religion as well. It's alcohol is banned in Pakistan, and alcohol is obviously it's not allowed in the religion, so
Mhm.
it's not available here. So
Yeah.
it is a issue, but it's not as big as issue in the Western countries. So I believe I just wanted to point this out. This could be
Yeah.
really the top example that I was actually trying to deliver.
Yeah, no, that is great. And it can be definitely challenging when we put these together because you've got a
Yeah,
kind of one size fits all. But
yeah,
no, that's an absolute great call out. Thank you for that.
appreciate it. All right, I think I do have another meeting in few minutes,
Okay.
so let's just call it a day. And thank you so much for your time. It was really wonderful talking to you, and I'm looking forward for those documents and the upcoming meeting as well.
Perfect. So I will get all of the upcoming, the follow-ups, the presentation materials to you by the end of the day tomorrow. But what I'll go ahead
Perfect.
and do once we get off is I'll send you my calendar of availability for next week for an hour slot, so that we can coordinate with the board. And if anyone wants to join, we can go ahead and do that.
Sure, I'll do that. Thank you so much.
Hey, have a great rest of your day. It was nice to meet you.
Thank you. Likewise. Have a good day. Bye bye now.
Take care.